The lead attorney representing former President Donald Trump in his Georgia election interference case, Steve the PITBULL Sadow, speaks up and tells us everything that's wrong with Fani Willis's ruling. Now, for Sadow, the decision from Judge McAfee to keep Willis on the case while firing Nathan Wade does not lend appropriate significance to their prosecutorial misconduct. This includes the financial benefits, testifying untruthfully about when their personal relationship began, as well as Willis's extrajudicial MLK Day church speech, where Sadow said she played the race card and falsely accused the defendants and their counsel of racism. Now, Trump's team, led by Sadow, has filed a motion again seeking to dismiss and disqualify embattled Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the Georgia election fraud case. They definitely have some legal experts supporting their move. Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley, he argued the decision to keep Willis will only lead to additional questions. Now, in today's video, we're going to take a look at Trump's team's next steps to take down Fani Willis. Judge McAfee himself has said that Willis's behavior in court testimony was unprofessional. And then he pointed out to the Georgia legislature, state bar, and ethics board for unanswered questions about Willis's affair. Could this be where Fani Willis finally gets disqualified? Let's find out in today's deep dive. So here's what Trump's lead attorney, Steve Sadow, said about Judge McAfee's ruling to keep DA Fani Willis on the Georgia election case. Check this out.
Steve Sadow issued a statement earlier saying, quote, "While respecting the court's decision, we believe that the court did not afford appropriate significance to the prosecutorial misconduct of Willis and Wade. We will use all legal options available as we continue to fight to end this case, which should never have been brought in the first place," end quote.
Now, for a lot of people, the judge made the wrong decision. He let two people who probably lied under oath, stole taxpayer money, and disrespected the court walk scot-free. No wonder people have no faith in the justice system anymore. So Steve Sadow, Trump's lead attorney in the Georgia election interference case, said that though he respects McAfee's decision, he still found that it did not afford the appropriate significance to the prosecutorial misconduct of Willis and Wade, including the financial benefits, testifying untruthfully about their personal relationship when it began, as well as Willis's extrajudicial MLK Day church speech, where she played the race card and falsely accused the defendants and their counsel of racism. That's when he declared that he will use all legal options available as they continue to fight to end this case, which should have never been brought in the first place. I mean, people are just asking, how can she prosecute criminals when she herself is a criminal? So now Trump's defense team, they're filing a motion seeking to dismiss and disqualify embattled Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis from the Georgia election fraud case. The filing comes days after the judge seeking the case ruled that she could stay on so long as Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade stepped aside, following their revelation of their romantic relationship. In the filing, Steve Sadow notes how in McAfee's own statement of the court decision, he acknowledges that Willis's actions created an appearance of impropriety and an odor of mendacity that lingers in this case. But it nonetheless refused to dismiss the case or disqualify her. Nathan Wade already stepped down, but the defense attorney argued that the resignation of Mr. Wade is insufficient to cure the appearance of impropriety that the court has already determined exists. Now, along with her relationship with Wade, which has now ended, Sadow and the attorneys criticized Willis's January speech at Atlanta's Big Bethel AME Church, where she claimed the backlash against her and Wade was racially motivated because they were both black. The defense attorneys claimed Willis's speech crossed the line and was clear evidence their clients will be denied the opportunity for a fundamentally fair trial as long as Willis is involved. They write, whether District Attorney Fani Willis and her office are permitted to continue representing the state of Georgia in prosecuting the defendants in this action is of the utmost importance to this case, and ensuring the appellate courts have the opportunity to weigh in on these matters pre-trial is paramount. Meaning they're making Willis's participation in the case a priority in their questioning of whether this trial against Trump should even continue in the first place. Now, I gotta say, guys, this appeal may hold some promise, especially considering how it echoes many of the things that McAfee mentions in the ruling. McAfee had also been critical of Willis's decision to speak at the church, writing that her comments were legally improper and saying how he may have to place a gag order on her in the future. He even pointed out that providing this type of public comment creates dangerous waters for the district attorney to wade further through. For an appeal to take place, Judge McAfee would have to allow for it to be heard, and then the state appeals court would have to agree to hear it. And since the appeal uses much of his own words, McAfee would most likely have to allow it or else face the political, legal, and backlash himself. These developments can definitely have a big impact, and this is just the start of the conversation. Now, if you're finding our analysis helpful today, you want to see more like this, definitely hit the like button and don't forget to subscribe to the channel. There is a lot more like this to come, so don't go away, guys. Now, another legal expert that weighed in on this Fani Willis decision was Fox News contributor Jonathan Turley. For him, McAfee's decision to leave Fulton County District Attorney Fani Willis on the Trump case, if she parts ways with Special Prosecutor Nathan Wade, will only lead to additional questions. He described it as a Solomon-esque type of ruling by the court to take Wade off and leave Willis. The appeal here is that it dodges the whole Cliff issue of the case. If he had booted Willis too, he'd have to pull the plug on the whole office, handing the case over to new prosecutors. That could really slow things down, maybe even get the case tossed if the new prosecutors took a very hard look at the racketeering angle and found it wanting like a lot of us have. So this move sidesteps the Cliff, but it doesn't dodge the inevitable questions. He says it's kind of like finding two people in the bank vault and taking only one off to jail. The thing is, the judge pointed out that the appearance problem that the judge identified with regard to Wade, it was directly related to his relationship with Willis. They both stood up there saying pretty much the same thing, acting as two halves of the same coin, but only Wade got the disqualification. That's bound to raise eyebrows. Why does Fani Willis get a pass? Turley described it as leaving this feeling like the court went and shot the wounded. So Judge McAfee denied the co-defendant's motion to have Willis disqualified from the case, saying they lacked sufficient evidence that Willis acquired a personal stake in the prosecution or that her financial arrangements had any impact on the case. But he added that his finding is by no means an indication that the court condones this tremendous lapse in judgment or the unprofessional manner of the district attorney's testimony during the evidentiary hearing. He also described it as making bad choices, even repeatedly. McAfee also scolded Fani Willis's public statements. He said Willis's racially charged rhetoric about playing the race card during a speech at a church service was legally improper. That sounds like illegal to me, right? Why don't we just call a spade a spade? Now, as he described it, this type of public comment creates dangerous waters for district attorney to wade further into. He even threatened a gag order on Willis, saying that the time may well have arrived for an order preventing the state from mentioning the case in any public forum to prevent prejudicial pretrial publicity. McAfee also dug into Wade's patently unpersuasive explanation about inaccurate statements that he submitted to the court about his divorce. For McAfee, it indicates a willingness on Wade's part to wrongly conceal his relationship with the district attorney, especially as key witnesses' testimonies say Wade had been romantically involved with Willis prior to the hiring. Terrence Bradley, when pressed under oath, said that he could not recall several details and timelines about conversations he had had with former client Wade about Wade's romantic relationship with Willis. Now, at one point, it was questioned about a text message exchange in which he said Willis's relationship with Wade had absolutely started before he was hired in the DA's office in 2021. Robert Yeardy, a former good friend of Willis and past employee at the DA's office, testified in court that she had no doubt Willis and Wade's relationship started in 2019. After the two had met at a conference. She even testified to observing Willis and Wade hugging and kissing and showing affection prior to November 2021, and that she had no doubt that the two were in a romantic relationship starting in 2019 and lasting until she and Willis last spoke in 2022. From all of that, McAfee said that an odor of mendacity remains, and after that, reasonable questions about whether the district attorney and her hand-selected lead special assistant district attorney testified untruthfully about the timing of the relationship further underpin the findings of an appearance of impropriety and the need to make proportional efforts to cure it. He then passed the ball, writing in his order that other forums or sources of authority such as General Assembly, the Georgia State Ethics Commission, the State Bar of Georgia, the Fulton County Board of Commissioners, or the voters of Fulton County may offer feedback on any unanswered questions that linger. Translation, it's these other governing legal bodies that could ultimately take Willis off the case and maybe even throw out the Trump case in Georgia altogether. A Georgia State Senate special committee formed in January to investigate Willis has already held one hearing, in which Ashley Merchant, who led the allegations in court against Willis, testified that Wade's cell phone data included or indicated that he may have made midnight trips to Willis's condo before he was hired. The Georgia House of Representatives also passed a bill just earlier this year that would revive the Prosecuting Attorneys Qualifications Commission, which could be used as a way to oust Willis. A Fulton County ethics board that was scheduled to hear complaints filed against Willis earlier this month backtracked after finding that it had lacked jurisdiction, but complaints against both Willis and Wade were still pending before the Georgia State Bar. I just hope that any of these government institutions will actually have the guts to hold her accountable and get her disbarred if she's found guilty. And well, guys, that kind of wraps up our deep dive into the Steve the Pitbull Sadow's critique of Fani Willis's ruling. Whether you agree or disagree, it is very clear that this decision opens up broader conversations about justice, legal strategies, and the intricacies of the law. So what do you guys think? Let us know in the comment section down below. And if you found this analysis insightful, give us a like, subscribe, share this video, and don't forget to drop a comment and let me know what you guys think. Anyway, as always, I'll see you guys on the next one.